Hey guys, I'm Hop. Thank you for tuning in to TFBTV. I'm out at the range with the new optics-ready version of the Mossberg MC2C. This is their double-stack slimline carry gun, recently updated to include an optics cut. And this gun, along with the MC2SC, which is the subcompact version of this, are, in my opinion, the most criminally overlooked carry handguns currently on the market. Let's take a closer look at it, and I'll see if I can make my case. We've talked before about the somewhat rocky history of the Mossberg MC pistol series. The first one in the lineup was a 9mm single-stack micro-compact, very similar to a Glock 43, but it came out after the Glock 43 and unfortunately at about the same time as the SIG P365, which really redefined what the standard capacity of a concealed carry handgun in that footprint should be, kind of set the concealed carry market into a bit of a tailspin for a couple years. The MC1C had the usual features of this design. It's available with a crossbolt safety, which is just a bizarre feature that I don't understand at all, and also it has a slightly easier takedown mechanism that doesn't require you to pull the trigger. That's really not enough to set it apart from a Glock 43, and definitely not enough to talk you out of buying a higher capacity SIG 365. The second pistol in the series was the original MC2C, which is very much similar to a Glock 19 in size, albeit slimmer, and with a reduced standard capacity, kind of commensurate with the decrease in size. The MC2C was really, again, not all that exciting because it came out when people were still excited about the SIG P365 and the XL, and the capacity to the size just didn't look super impressive. The first one in the lineup that I thought had real potential was the MC2SC, which is the subcompact double-stack Micro 9, and it also was optics ready with probably one of the best optics cut I've ever seen on a factory handgun. It sits super low, it's compatible with the Shield RMS or Holosun K cut optics, which are basically the ones people want to put onto guns of this footprint. It's overall a really excellent handgun. Unfortunately, it is criminally underrated, not just do people not seem to buy it that much, but also holster manufacturers are unwilling to properly support a gun that doesn't really have very much of the market share. So, as much as I love that pistol, I never found a holster that I liked, and so I never carried it, and so I got rid of it. Now, there is a new optics-ready version of the MC2C, takes the extremely nice optics cut from the MC2SC, adds it to the MC2C, and also bumps the capacity up a little bit. So instead of 14 rounds in a standard capacity magazine, this holds 16 rounds of 9mm. Although, I'm in Oregon, and Oregon is having a bit of a shit fit right now, so these are 10-round magazines, unfortunately. For my money, I think the Mossberg MC2SC and this, the MC2C Optics Ready, are the best concealed carry handguns available on the market right now, dollar for dollar. I also think they are a significantly better buy than the Glock 43X and the Glock 48, respectively. I'm going to make that case, but I'm going to have to tread a little bit lightly. You know that TFBTV has been sponsored by both Glock and Mossberg in the past, and James Reeves is a huge fan of Glocks, so I'm going to try to argue my point here without getting fired. Let's see if it works. If you've been into guns for more than about 5 years, you've probably noticed that trends in the industry ebb and flow over time. We spent years making guns smaller, culminating with pocket 380s like the Glock 42 and the Ruger LCP, and then guns started getting bigger again. Now we're back to wearing bigger guns, such as the Glock 43X and 48 like onions on our collective belts. The Glock 48 and competitors like the SIG 365X Macro fit basically into the Glock 19 footprint, but slimmer. For my money, grip length is the hardest thing to conceal, and reducing the width of a gun mostly just translates to increased comfort. It's possible I'm in the minority here. Either way, the market is clearly comfortable with full-size carry guns again, but give it a year and we'll rediscover how nice it feels to leave the house without 30 rounds of 9mm hanging like the sword of Damocles over our dicks. The current leader in capacity and capability for the size out of the box is probably the SIG 365XL or the X Macro, but if you're willing to spend extra time and money on a custom piece, I think it's going to be the Glock 43X or Glock 48. The problem is that those guns are really unimpressive out of the box, and they need a lot of work. So what do you have to do to make the ultimate carry Glock right now? We start out with a 43X or a 48, depending on how you feel about slide length. The potential benefits of the longer barrel and slide on a 48 aren't going to matter once we add a red dot and select the right defensive ammunition. But then again, it's not any harder to conceal that extra half inch of barrel, so let's just send it on a 48. Now we want a red dot, which means we have to add some money to get the MOS version, or we have to add some money and time to send the slide off for an optics cut of your choice. Next up, time to get replacement sights that co-witness through the optic. The factory slimline Glock mags have an almost nostalgic 10-round capacity, so we need to upgrade to the Shield Arms 15-round metal mags and replace the magazine catch with the metal one. We can get a few bucks back by selling off our spare 10-rounders on the secondary market. Our bonus step is to replace the trigger because you're a moron who would happily trade safety and reliability for a marginally improved trigger feel. Or maybe you aren't. Prove me wrong, kids. The total cost of this top-tier yet tastefully understated custom Glock 48? Many thousands of dollars, I assume. I can't do math beyond 3 digits, and we haven't even bought a red dot for it yet. Or we could just get the optics-ready Mossberg MC2C. The gun is direct milled for the Holosun K pattern red dots out of the box with one of the best, lowest optics cuts on a factory pistol. Being direct milled means we don't have to fuck around with an adapter plate that adds a potential failure point and makes our optic taller. The factory iron sights are excellent high-vis 3 dots, either tritium or plain white dots, and they co-witness easily through that nice low optics cut. The magazine capacity is 16 rounds of 9mm, and it even comes with a metal magazine catch. What a deal. Last and least, the trigger is a little better than a Glock stock trigger. Just a little bit. The total cost of the Mossberg MC2C as configured is whatever a Mossberg MC2C costs. I probably said the same thing about the MC2SC, but these guns are basically everything you would do to a Glock for slightly less money than just the Glock. The MC pistols have excellent ergonomics. The grip shape and texture, the slide serrations, magazine release, and slide release are excellent. The triggers are perhaps a bit nicer than a Glock trigger for most shooters, but I don't like the feel of flat-faced triggers and probably never will, so use your own judgment on that. Obviously, I still like Glocks, and I wouldn't say no to a totally customized G48. But I don't like the MOS plate system, and I've heard a lot of horror stories from guys who have sent their slides off to be milled for optics. There's something to be said for the convenience and peace of mind of a turnkey solution like the Mossberg MC2C. The Achilles heel of the Mossberg MC series has always been holster availability. I was a big fan of the MC2 subcompact, but I could never find a holster that I really liked for it, so I never carried it, and eventually I got rid of it. Mossberg has partnered with DeSantis to make some official holsters for the MC series, but I don't think either of those are particularly good holsters. With the release of the optics-ready MC2C, I did another sweep of the market and was able to find a holster that does work for me. This one is by MK Tech. It is a very basic inside-the-waistband Kydex holster, but it has all the features that I'm looking for. This holster has adjustable cant, so you can set it up at the 3 or 4 o'clock position, or you can expose a little bit more of the grip for carrying appendix. It also accommodates the optics cut and should be compatible with almost every optic in the RMSC or Holosun K footprint. It does not accommodate a weapon light. There is an accessory rail on the MC series pistols, but they are not great candidates for weapon lights. Almost any pistol in this super slim footprint is kind of tough to get a weapon light on in the first place. That's not a deal breaker for me, but if you really want to have a weapon light on your carry gun, that's going to make finding a holster even harder than it already is. Now that I have a holster that I like, the MC2C has become my daily carry pistol, replacing the Taurus GX4 Toro, despite the fact that the MC2C is bigger and I only have 10-round magazines for it, which is lower capacity than the GX4 Toro. I picked up this pistol after Oregon passed HB 114, which limits magazine capacity to 10 rounds, and even though that has been thoroughly injuncted, there are still a lot of people who are a little leery about shipping standard capacity magazines to Oregon. Also, since I took the Holosun 407K 6 MOA dot off of my GX4 Toro and put it on this pistol, well, that's the other reason I'm carrying this instead. Once things settle down and I can get 16 rounders for this gun again, I'll be happy to have the upgrade, but until then, I'm totally okay carrying it.
Don't do the easy way.
Yeah.
6, 8, 9!
Now remember your name because you burned it down. Good job. Good job. Who wants to go after that?
Thanks for watching, guys. TFB TV is supported by our sponsors Ventura Munitions and Top Gun Supply. We are also supported directly by our viewers like you via Subscribestar and Utreon. Check out both of those in the video description. If you join up, you'll be eligible for a bunch of giveaways that James puts together. You'll get stuff like free belts, free guns, gift cards to whatever. But more importantly, you pay James Reeves' salary and you might get some limited edition TFB patches, which are worth their weight in gold. I assume, at least. We've never actually tried to resell them. See you next time. Oh, look at that. My cat just moved. Thanks a lot.